So we're going to be talking a bit about the iOS app that we launched last week. As I mentioned, it's myself and Viv who are your guides to this webinar. And so an overview of what we're going to be having a look at. We're going to start with a bit of an introduction to the app, and particularly the features of the app, what you can do with it. We'll give you a bit of a live demo, which will be hopefully an interesting, exciting new challenge for us. We've not done a live app demo over one of these webinars before. And we'll then have some time for discussion about how you might use the app in your own teaching, learning or research. So we've got some sort of suggestions of how you might let us know how you'd like to use it. But also we welcome any kind of questions or comments there or throughout. And as Viv said, we prefer questions in the text chat if that's okay. So that's just in your panel on the right hand side there. So the app came out last week. We're very excited about it. It's free to download. It carries no advertising, so it's just all MediaHub, 100% MediaHub. So if you're wanting to download the app, if you haven't already, you just do that, or you want to encourage your students or colleagues to do it, you just visit the MediaHub website on your iOS device and you should get a little banner coming up telling you that there is an app available. Alternatively, there's a big download on the App Store button that will appear at the bottom of the screen within the front page of the MediaHub service. You can also just go directly to the App Store and search for MediaHub, in fact, and find it there. And this screen in the middle here, this image in the middle of the screen, that's currently in the showcase as well. So there's a whole article about the app that you can access via the showcase on the front page of the MediaHub service just at the moment. So we're going to start out with a poll. Since you've come to this lovely webinar on the app, we'd like to find out if you've had a chance to have a look at it yet or not. So the poll has just opened up. I mentioned that if you search the App Store for MediaHub, you'll get a couple of different search results, and hopefully it's very obvious which ours is. But I thought I'd put a little screen grab from the from the iTunes Store in general. So it looks like about half of you don't have an iOS device. So I have a slide at the end of today's presentation that will be helpful, I think, particularly for you. And 17% of you have downloaded it. So a couple of you have downloaded it so far. But no one's had a chance to try it out yet. So hopefully the session today will give you an idea of what's involved in the app. If you don't have an iOS device but you're supporting people who do, then it'll give you a chance to understand how to support them and how to show them how it works. And it'll give you sort of a heads up for what will be coming in the future for Android. So that will be very similar functionality. So it'll give you an idea both of what the iOS app does and also what future apps that cover the same service will do. So you've downloaded the app, those of you there, or your users download the app. What happens is you tap on it to enter it, you'll need to log in using your UK Federation login. And this is because the way the app works, you sign in once with your My MediaHub login. It keeps you logged in for several months, actually. And the reason that we ask you to sign in like that is to allow you to bookmark and favourite items as you go through. And that means that when you go and look at the web service afterwards, anything you favorited in the app is also available when you're on the website. And lets us link everything up together. So we ask you to log in first of all, and that also means you can watch videos and things which you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So if you don't have UK Federation login access enabled at the moment, if your institution or have any questions about that, please let us know, because we're keen to make sure that everyone's able to use the app who wants to. So anyway, there's your first login screen, big login button. Doesn't usually have the red box around it, but that's how it will look. So what can you do with the app? You can browse featured content. This is the content that appears on the front page of MediaHub. You can browse the most popular items. You can search for MediaHub content. You can preview and view MediaHub items. You can favorite MediaHub items for later use, and you can share MediaHub items. So I can go through those in a bit more detail. So the featured items screen, this is what, if you know, we come into MediaHub, each month we have a new showcase, and it picked out interesting things from the service. So it's sort of content we think will be particularly of interest in a particular month. So either it's got some news connection, or it's just a really interesting, quirky item. So you can see this is a screenshot from the app, and it shows featured item from last month's showcase. I didn't take a new screenshot especially for today, because we just changed the showcase last week. And this allows you to look at all of the highlighted items there, and when you tap on it, you can see a nice big preview image. You can see details about the item, and if you sort of scroll down to the bottom of that, you can then also favourite that item. So you get to view the full record once you've tapped on things. Otherwise, you get a little preview of just the title and the collection and what format it's in. If you view the most popular items, that's little buttons, so you can see at the bottom of the screen on the mobile here. Oop, my slides are tripping back and forwards. On the bottom of the screen here, some issue, you see a star, a little list, a little search, magnifying glass, and you can see that if you tick on the list there, you'll get the most popular items. And these are two different lists. So you've got the most popular items within MediaHub, so things people have been searching for and browsing, and the most popular searches, as in search terms on MediaHub. So you can then browse through those in a similar sort of way, and this is the most popular stuff for the last 30 days. If you go into MediaHub and click Explore by most popular, it's the same content that you would find there. And again, if you click on item, you get to view its full record. And it's quite a fun way to find things, actually. We're always fascinated to find out why something is the most popular thing each month. Some of them are more obvious than others. I'm not quite sure why the Lal Kafir images in Pakistan were most popular last month. So you can browse the most popular stuff, you can browse the featured items, you can also search MediaHub content, and you do that by clicking on the little magnifying glass. And that will give you some, you can give you a text box where you can type in your search terms, but you can also set various different settings, so filters and preferences. So you do that by clicking on the little cog at the bottom of the screen, and you can pick between the formats that you're searching through, so you can pick to only see video, only see still images, only see audio, or some combination of those. So these switches are just little toggles. So if it's blue, then it's just switched on. So I don't know, video with blue would be you're searching for video. And white is switched off. So in this case, I've switched it off so I can't see external collections. It's worth noting that in the app you get only some of the external collections being looked at. We've got our sort of biggest collection from Culture Grid, I think, in there as a sort of enough to give you a good range of content, but not so much as to completely overwhelm, because on the mobile phone there's only so much you can handle in a little screen. So for now that's how it's set up. And you can choose how you sort your search results. You can search by the relevance of the search results, by their titles, just alphabetically, or by distance. And you can do that quite cunningly. You can do that either for the location you're actually in, and when you click Edit Distances and Locations, it will try and find where you currently are. Or you can do it for any location you fancy, using as your kind of center point. So if you wanted to search for, I don't know, let's say Glastonbury, you could sort of choose to pick that location and a sort of 50-mile radius or 100-mile radius, or you could choose to search for things that are about Glastonbury but in your area based on your current location, so I'm looking for sort of reportage from somewhere else. So you've got a few different choices there. So when you've done a search, so here I've searched for festival, you can then see full list of results, and if you kind of scroll up the page, they'll load the next set as you'd expect on a sort of iPhone search result page. So you can scroll up and it still loads the next set and scroll up. And you can, again, just like the featured, just like most popular pages, tap on the different items to find out more details. And from this screen you can also see summary information, so sort of titles of posts, formats of posts, and the collections. And this should all be quite familiar because it's similar to the web interface and how that works in terms of what's pulled out and what's involved. Once you do not super high resolution, but enough to get a proper sense of the content, you can listen to the audio file if it's an audio file, or you can view the video in full, although we do recommend you do that via Wi-Fi, just in case you're viewing a particularly large video file and you don't want to end up with data charges. But it will work in either one, but we'll give you a little warning the first time you try and do it away from Wi-Fi. So I mentioned that you can favourite items from the record pages. So I've decided that I'm going to have a look at these lights on the front of a Vespa. And if I scroll down the page, I will see an add to favourites link. I'm going to show you this in the live demo in a second. And when you favourite that item, as I mentioned, it will show up on the My MediaHub page within the service. So the way that we expect this app to be used, we think will be useful to people, is that when they're out and about, they're picking content that they want to use in their teaching and learning or that they want to use in their projects, and then they're favouriting it and coming back and sort of picking out the full version of it when they're on the web interface on a sort of desktop machine or laptop, because we think realistically people aren't going to want to sort of edit their content or edit their slides on their mobile phone, but they might want to pick content to go into that kind of content while they're out and about. So the idea is you search, you browse, you select stuff, you favourite stuff, and then when you get back to your machine, it's all there waiting for you in MediaHub, and you can sort of download and edit mini presentations and do all the stuff you would normally do with our content. You can also share content while you're on the move, so you can use the standard sharing symbol up in the top right-hand corner here, the sort of box with an arrow poking out. Those that don't normally have an iOS device, that is standard iOS kind of visual symbols. Whenever we get to doing the Android one, it will have the standard Android sharing symbol, just to kind of fit into what's expected by users anyway. So you click on the sharing button and you can share via email and phone messaging at the moment. So this would be you'll get a link and maybe a thumbnail if it's an image or a video, and you can then add your own sort of message about why you think it's an interesting item. So if you wanted to email it to a colleague, for instance, just to flag something up as a possible item to use in teaching, for instance. You can also add particularly interesting items to your reading list within, on your iOS device. And do kind of standard stuff like print the record. I'm not sure why you want to print the record, but you can print the record. So anything you'd expect to be able to do in terms of sharing is there. In terms of social media sharing, I think there's sort of limited functionality of that just at the minute, but it's on our sort of what's coming next list for the app. Okay, our live demo, very disappointingly, is not working. It was working beautifully when we tested this earlier. I'm so sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a little video, which is our help and support video, and I'll sort of talk you through it as we go. And it will just sort of show you the process and what's involved. This video is available for you to use and embed in your own VLE, on your website, whatever is appropriate for your institution. So you're welcome to use this anyway when you're supporting your own learners. So you can see here we're showing the featured items list. And sort of browsing through that, and now the most popular list, and again you can see these are last month's lists, which is when we shot our videos very excitedly. When you go into an item, the preview image shows up there. If you tap on it, it will show you a bigger preview that you can have a good kind of browse of. And if you scroll down that record, you can see it's telling you what kind of type of item it is, who created it, where it's from, and if you click Add Favorites, you'll get given the Grapevine user agreement. That's the MediaHub tool for bookmarking. So the first time you try and do this, you need to accept the agreement, but it doesn't show up again once you've accepted it once. So once you're all set up, you're good. So you add it to your favorites, and the favorites then visible. And we're just doing a search here now, so demoing a search. So this will look through all of the items in MediaHub. It will look through as you can see, found lots of results, 21,000 results. So you can do, again, the same kind of tactics you would do on the website in terms of constructing your search in different ways. So using quotes, using ands and things, using different terminology that will work to find better quality results instead of finessing what you find. And then, of course, you can use the filters to decide whether you... And the demo here has picked video. So she's gone back, she's searched again, and there are 85 results found. Brilliant. That's a much more manageable number. But you're going to go back and change the search settings again and switch on external collections, which will allow us to look through external content as well as the kind of core GISC collections content. This is the sorting tools here being demoed, and choose the distance from a given location. So no limit would be you've picked location, but it will be sort of prioritised to that location, but it won't block anything out. If you pick 50 miles, it will only give you results from the notable 50 miles. If you pick 100 miles, it's the nearest 100 miles. So here they've decided not to go with where she's searching from. She's decided to search around Vietnam, I think. Yes, nodding from Viv here in the room. So you add a little pin when you go and find a location, and that then gives the iPhone app something to kind of base its location on. And you can save as many locations as you like. So although Viv's labelled this Vietnam, you could also label the location as a particular university name or the location of a particular battle, or it could be a kind of much more personal label than that because you pick the labels, which is why you can set the pins in that kind of a way. So if you decide you don't want to use the distancing, you delete those settings, which was just being demoed there. This is the sharing button, and you can see that you can add it to reading list, you can message people, you can send an email, and we also to email a link with Nixon speech on it. Must have a friend who really likes a Nixon speech, much excitement. And you can see there's details there of how to contact us. So if you want to use this video with your users, there's a good route for them to find further help if they need it. So I'm going to switch back to our PowerPoint. I'm so sorry we didn't get to do the live demo there. We were all very excited using our previewing tool. And I've now noticed that this has gone to the wrong slide again. There we go. I should point out that we do these webinars from a special dedicated machine, and it's slightly differently set up from my normal machine. Getting to grips with it. Okay, so what is worth pointing out, because you will get questions about what you can do with the app, and you will have your own questions, I'm sure, about what can be done with the app. We thought we'd cover what you can't do with the app as well, just to be kind of very clear about what you can and can't do. So you can't download the MediaHub content on the app, and that's partly because iPhones are just not well set up for sort of then taking that content and adding it to something later on. The way it stores the content is not terribly helpful for making lecture notes or for teaching learning in that kind of way. But like we said, you can favourite items, then go to my MediaHub and then download it to whatever the appropriate machine is as needed. And you can do that in your preferred format, because you'll be aware that when you download a video, for instance, you'll get a range of different formats available to you when you go and hit download. You can only show our email and mobile messaging currently. As I mentioned, social media sharing is something for the near future. And you can only search for just eCollections content and a limited range of our external content. Worth noting that none of the medically restricted content is available in the app, and that's for kind of privacy reasons above and beyond anything else. So if you're one of the universities that subscribes to medically restricted content, it's only the slightly more open stuff that you would log in to see that you'll be able to see in the app. We hope that kind of the trade-off of privacy versus inconvenience is about right for that.
Can I just add something? I think by default, those search settings that Nicola showed you in the video, the external collections are off.
Yeah.
Because I think in the past we've had a lot of people say I'm more interested in the licensed content, so by default you won't be searching those.
Yeah, that's correct. By default you won't be searching those, but you've got the option to sort of look through the external content if you would prefer. In terms of help and support, we've written a big blog post introducing the app, and we think that's probably the best of places to steal bits of text from, which you're welcome to do, so please feel free to reuse any part of it or point people at it. We have a video guide, which you've just seen, which is a perk, I guess, of the live demo going horribly wrong. And you can also, it's also available on YouTube, so if you want to embed it using some existing plugin that you already have for YouTube, you can do that. We also have a help and support guide for the whole of MediaHub. It includes a section on the iOS app, and that's on page 81, which sounds scary, but anyway, it's useful to know which page it's on. And we've got some new and shinier versions of the help and support pages coming, which of course the app will be part of as well, and that video will be embedded within that. And we have another webinar coming up on the 3rd of September when I will make sure this demo is working correctly. We will test it another 3 or 4 times, having failed to get it working today. So I wanted to just kind of have some space now to talk about how you might use this in teaching and learning. We are really keen to find out if you find the app useful, how you find it useful. We would really welcome your comments and your input and any questions that you have about that. In particular, we'd be really keen to have some case studies of how you've used the app or how you think you'll be able to use the app in your organisation. If you're interested in being involved in those, get in touch with us. The standard Adino email address would be the best way to do that. We'd be very, very grateful to be able to have a quick chat with you about how you're doing that and how we can highlight that use. So we're happy to sort of show off your amazing teaching and learning examples, and also to kind of expose how people might want to use the app themselves. If you are downloading the app and you are using it, we would appreciate any reviews or ratings on the App Store. You know, preferably nice ones, but we're not picky. Honest ones are fine, or whatever level you want to make them. Because leaving a comment or leaving a rating just makes a big difference to how easy it is for other people to find, and it helps other people understand whether it's the right app for them. So if it's the wrong app for them, it's much better they know that before they've taken the time to download it anyway. So hopefully it's the right app, but you know, it's good to have some reviews and ratings there either way. If you do want us to tweet about the app, or you want to tweet any questions about the app, then it's the standard Just MediaHub Twitter handle. and we've got a little hashtag Mobile Media Hub to try and kind of gather some of the tweets about the app, so by all means use that. And we're very happy to share your stories and links and comments and retweet stuff that's interesting, so please do kind of share things there. And if you do have your own blog post or web pages or guidance information that you produce for staff and students, and this applies to not just the app but also to other MediaHub stuff, just let us know. We're very happy to sort of share those onwards as well. But I think I'd be sort of interested to know now if any of you are kind of thinking about how you might use this in teaching and learning. I think I have a poll coming up in the next slide in that. No, in a couple of slides' time. That's fine. So I mentioned earlier there would be an Android app coming because clearly an iOS app only covers some of our users in terms of staff and students. We do have an Android app currently under development, literally currently under development. My colleague is sitting working on it at the moment, I think, and it should be ready by autumn 2015. We are using the same kind of what's the word, sort of spec for the iOS app as for the Android one, so the same kind of functionality will be available in the Android app, and it's likely to look reasonably similar but much more kind of Android-y looking. Deliberately the Android app's going to look like it belongs on Android, and the iOS app looks like it belongs on iOS, but the functionality will be the same across the two. And if you want us to alert you when the Android app is available, let us know now or drop us an email and we'll make sure that you're updated as soon as it comes out. Anyone who actually sent in their survey they wanted to know about the iOS app got an email a day ahead, I think, of us releasing it this time round. So we'll do the same thing for Android users if you're interested. So what I would like to move on to in a second is some questions about some future multimedia plans. But before I do that poll, I was wondering if you've got any questions or comments about how you might use the app in teaching and learning, or what interests you about the app when you decided to come along today, which I very much appreciate, by the way. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to come along to this. So are there any questions or comments?
Well, we've had lots of comments about the Android app and people saying that it's primarily Android that they're waiting on.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're really keen to find out when that'll be ready, and they'll wait until that version's available before they start to promote and push it out in teaching and learning.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did launch the poll before you started chatting.
No, that's quite all right, sorry.
I'm sorry, I might have might be other comments, but people are busy answering the poll. But there's no specific sort of examples or about teaching and learning. But yeah, definitely the Android app. There's big demand for that, and I've mentioned that it would be really good to know are there other features that we'd encourage take up.
Yeah, that would be really useful for us to know, because we've still got an opportunity to sort of shape how the Android app works and what it has in it. So if you do have a particular request for something you think would be a killer feature for the Android app, let us know, because we can add things to that and then always update the iOS app to match that, I guess. So I'm just going to say a word about this, the poll that's currently up. So we've talked about the iOS app and the Android app. We're currently looking generally about how we do multimedia content, and so we'd love to have a chance to chat to you about how you're using MediaHub, but also how you're using images, video and sound in your organisation in general. So if you would be happy for us to contact you for a chat, and it would be a very informal chat, and it would be either myself, my colleague Lorna, or my colleague Catherine, MediaHub team, then just let us know. This poll, as you can see, has 4 options. We know that not everyone's going to feel like they're the appropriate person to have this chat, and that some people will be much keener to know about anything we do later on in terms of events or discussion sessions or whatever. So I can see from the polling already that most people are either happy to chat or they'd rather hear about things later on, and that's totally fine, and I appreciate you taking time to respond to that. Yeah, so we're looking at what we could do in the future, and obviously how you use the app will be part of how we're thinking about what we do with media and multimedia in the future. So again, once you do get to using either this app or the Android one, any feedback you have or any comments that you have would be fantastic. Oh, I think I have the buggiest computer of all time. I've had technical problems all day with everything I've touched. I've had a phone go wrong today. I've set someone else's screen wrong, so it's probably me.
Nicola's on the Windows 8 computer, so
yes,
she pulled the short straw.
I pulled the short straw. So to kind of round off more or less today's webinar. I wanted to ask if there were any additional questions now that we've closed the second poll there. Anything coming in on the chat?
Well, as I said before, just lots of interest in the Android app, and really more comments and questions. MediaHub could be a good resource to use with colleges and universities wanting to develop ideas for innovative approaches to online learning and teaching. And someone's mentioning we're looking at ways to publicise apps for various platforms to encourage student use of these. So I don't know if your earlier slide might have prompted some ideas.
Okay, excellent. I mean, if there is anything you need in terms of resources that would help you do publicity around the app or around MediaHub in general, do let us know, because we're happy to create anything that might be useful.
That's fine. It's difficult to split out these questions. Oh, are you planning any further promotional campaigns for the app to the HE and FE community in the next few months?
We would love to do some more promotion, actually. I would be very much grateful for suggestions of how best to do that. So we haven't arranged anything yet because we're waiting to kind of get the app through the Apple approval process, which you may know if you've encountered some app development before, can take a very variable quantity of time. But now that it's live and launched, we're quite keen to get word out about it. We've got another webinar in September, but anything else that we can do to get word out there, or kind of particular spaces that it would be useful to sort of get it shouted about, would be fantastic. Just gave us some support in getting word out the day that it was launched, of tweets and posts on social media. But we should and will send this round to some of the mailing lists for the community, and we'd really appreciate any sort of comments you've got about where might be the best places to do this. If there are particular locations that you would go to for news of the new app that you would like to see this reflected in, that would be brilliant, and we can do that then both for the iOS app and for the Android app when it comes out, which will be soon. And we do appreciate that, you know, different colleges and universities have different sort of cross sections of users in terms of whether they're using iOS or Android, and the Android is very, very popular. We just had to start building one first. We started on this one, but the Android one's going to follow very shortly. Any other questions in?
No. Someone's saying that they do that at Freshers' Fairs. So. Yeah.
So would it be useful to have any particular resources to make available at Freshers' Fairs? I mean, things that we could certainly do would be to provide some stuff that can be printed out with, say, a QR code on it, so people can just go directly to the download link. Anything that would be useful at that you would want to put out at those kind of events, just let us know, and we'll get it printed or made or whatever's appropriate.
Yeah. No, nothing else. Nothing else, Nicola?
Fantastic. Okay, so the last few slides that I have a quick poll about how you found today's. Sounds like you most found it useful, which I'm relieved about. It's always quite tricky knowing which technical setup is the best way to go. And we were hoping to do something live just so I could show you the syncing between the phone and the website. But if we can get that working, we'll do that on the 3rd of September. It was working this morning. It's so infuriating. So I just wanted to finish the slide just letting you know what's coming soon. So in addition to whatever brilliant suggestions you have about how we best disseminate this app to the community, which we will be looking at very, very quickly, we have got some other things coming up as well. So we have a presentation coming up at the West College Scotland Staff Conference in August, which will be relevant to only a few, if any, here, but useful to know we're doing, because we're quite happy to come out and do this sort of stuff. So if you have an event you think we should be at, just give us a shout. We have that webinar for the iOS app on the 3rd of September, and like I said, there'll be a live demo in that. If it kills me, I'm going to test the thing to like breaking point. The Android app should be out in autumn, and there will obviously then be webinars and information about that as soon as it's ready to go. We think that will be a little bit more predictable in terms of how long it takes us to get it approved, because the approval process will be just our quality control and testing in-house, because Google doesn't do the same sort of many obscure levels of checking. We will be sharing highlights from the recent survey that was running on MediaHub very shortly. So we had a survey running for 2 or 3 weeks on service. Many of you have been very kind and submitted responses to that. And so we'll be sharing some highlights of what staff, students, people who responded to the survey have said very soon. I'll get a chance just to kind of digest those into a blog post. And our other current developments can be found in our recently updated development roadmap on the service. We're always happy to run more webinars, presentations to help create new support videos, whatever it is that might be useful to you and your users. That would be fantastic. Just let us know what you would like. And as I mentioned, we're looking in general at how we provide multimedia content in the future and what that looks like. So if you're happy to have a chat of that kind, regardless of what you answered in the poll earlier, if you know someone who you think would be really good for us to speak to, then please get in touch and we would be delighted to have those conversations. And I think, yes, that's me. So if you have any final questions, either on the app or frankly anything else to do with MediaHub at the moment, would also be absolutely fine. Thank you so much for coming along and joining us. I realise it was sort of a fairly brief webinar, but we thought it'd be good just to kind of quickly sort of tour you through the app, particularly for those that aren't actually able to download it and play with it themselves. So it's good that you've all had a chance to have a wee look at it, and hopefully that will sort of trigger some thoughts and questions about what should be in the Android app or how you might promote it. Yeah, and take a wee look, I think. Any questions in?
Really just comments again. Someone saying in response to your comments that a QR code would be really good, so I've said we'll get something ready with a QR code on it.
We shall do that.
And people saying, remember that FE inductions will start earlier, for example September, and teacher training courses. So yeah, we should definitely get something ready by end August at latest and get it circulated.
Yeah, I think that's part of thinking behind the date we picked for the next webinar as well, that it would be pretty much the beginning of term for FE and just before the beginning of term for HE, so hopefully reasonably well timed. No, definitely we'll create a QR code that we can do very easily. Maybe we get some stickers printed or something to send around the place. And we will bear in mind the sort of FE inductions and timeline for those. If there's anything else that you think of afterwards anyway, just drop us an email. adina@ed.act.uk is the email address for sort of any questions of any type, or you can send them to me personally. My contact details are fairly easy to find, but they're just nicola.osborne@ed.act.uk.
Stickers are a fab idea.
Stickers it is then. Okay, stickers. Always happy to have a good excuse for a sticker. Fantastic. And if you do start having sort of stories back from your students about what they found useful or what they'd like changed, or from your staff, then we would love to hear those. We are open to suggestions and improvements and all of that stuff. So I think, unless any other questions, I think we will end with a huge thank you for coming along. Thank you so much for coming along and spending your half hour with us. And
we did go a bit over.
We did go a bit over. Terribly sorry about that. Okay, for your 40 minutes with us. And if you've got any questions, or if you want to see a live demo or anything and get an update on where the Android app is at, then we'll have that in the 3rd of September webinar as well. Yep. So thank you very much, and drop us any follow-up questions or comments via email, and we look forward to seeing those. Thank you.